Across Australia, the wheels of industry turn 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. These machines are tough, and the teams of people running them are even tougher. From deep underground to high in the sky, these heavy metal marvels are essential to our daily lives. But what happens when these massive machines break down? Teams of mechanics, engineers, fitters and Boilermakers step up to battle against tight deadlines in some of the harshest working environments on the planet. Doing the vital repair work to keep these heavy metal wonders of industry alive. On this episode of Mega Mechanics, it's a job high on the bucket list for maintenance supervisor Andy Schooler, managing a busy 4-day shutdown.
When you get moving parts, things wear out.
50 men versus 5 stories of a mighty preparation plant. But when the wind picks up, so does the danger.
You just know something's not looking right, so you just got to make the call.
There's nothing idle about this job. Hurdling 3 kilometres over conveyors at Port Waratah Coal Services, mechanical fitter Troy Bennis feels the burn.
I used to think it was a bit of a hero status to stay on there for too long.
But one misstep could bring this mighty machine to a standstill.
They've got the potential to cut or damage the conveyor belt.
A sticky situation at the Rocky Point Sugar Mill calls for a quick fix from hydraulic specialist Alan Osborne.
It doesn't fit, we have to make it fit. There's no choice, it will fit.
But will his sugar-coated solution get the mill back online?
Obviously keen to get going as soon as we can.
When it comes to burning rubber, these metallic birds take it to a whole new level. Making sure these flying kangaroos have plenty of spring in their step on landing is what this team specialise in. Senior laney Charles Lacina is keeping an eye on the team's progress.
It takes approximately half the weight of the aircraft landing forces.
Mining coal is a tough business, and the equipment even tougher. But without regular maintenance, it will break down. 130 kilometres west of Brisbane is the New Ackland coal mine near Oakey in regional Queensland. A 6 a.m. pre-start meeting in the maintenance workshop draws together a crew of 50 mechanical fitters and Boilermakers for a marathon 96-hour shutdown. Their mission, the annual overhaul of Coal Handling and Preparation Plant number 1. The biggest job over the shutdown is the replacement of the jig elevator buckets. Spanning 3 stories, this revolving conveyor removes waste rock from the crushed coal. After 12 months of continuous operation, the buckets are due for replacement. And the only way to remove them from the preparation plant is up, lifting them 5 stories high through an open cutout in the roof.
Got some fairly major jobs happening, as we do on these extended shutdowns. Feeder breaker, rebuild, jig elevator bucket, rebuilds.
Maintenance Improvement Coordinator Andy Schooler is in charge of this 4-day shutdown. Taking the preparation plant offline means no coal production, and with the demand for high-quality coal in hungry overseas markets, a 4-day shutdown of operations will run into millions of dollars of lost revenue. Some jobs will take just a few hours, but the replacement of the jig elevator buckets is a critical task and will take 8 shifts working around the clock for 96 hours.
You've got the biggest work group of people working on that job, and they have to all work together to make sure that that job comes in on time.
It's a huge operation, and with the clock ticking, safety checks take up valuable time, but they're not negotiable.
These fellas, before they do a job, they'll do what we call a risk assessment, or a JHA, a job hazard analysis. They go through and list step by step the parts of the job that they're doing, and they identify any hazards that are there.
Righto, work order matches, righto, sign away, fellas. There you go.
And with a plan of attack in place, it's time to pick up tools and take on this enormous project. To remove the jig elevator buckets from deep inside the preparation plant, Andy's called in a super-sized machine with a mighty reach.
So with the jig elevator lift, we bring in a 100-ton crane and they lift the jig elevators out. Not so much because the elevators are a heavy weight, but because we're lifting them so high and at a full reach with a crane.
Extending the boom to 50 metres, the towering crane will thread its lifting hook and chains through these open cutouts in the preparation plant roof. Raising the jig elevator buckets over 5 stories high, then ease them down to ground level. There's already been a casualty on a previous bucket lift, and crane rigger Russell Whitby can see a damaging reminder.
Looks like someone's hit the roof. So hopefully that's not us today.
But keeping this job on time will also depend on the weather, and a forecast of wind and rain could bring everything to a standstill. From outback Queensland to the seaside city of Newcastle, Port Waratah Coal Services is the largest coal export facility in the world, just 200 kilometres north of the state capital, Sydney, covering an area the size of 128 football fields. These mega machines and the expert mechanics who maintain them are a key part of the Hunter Valley coal chain, a 450 kilometre heavy haulage rail network from coal mines across the Hunter region to the Port of Newcastle. Working in the heavy maintenance industry for 32 years, Superintendent of Maintenance Ross Van Dyke has the responsibility of maintaining the facility's operations 24/7.
A large breakdown can have effect on the whole Hunter Valley coal chain. Potentially a conveyor breakdown might be a week's worth of work. So we put a lot of effort into eliminating those breakdowns.
Every year, the stockyards at Kooragang Terminal have the capacity to export 120 million tonnes of thermal and coking coal to destinations around the world.
We don't actually produce anything here, we don't make anything, we don't manufacture anything. We purely handle coal for our customers. And that's unloading, stacking, reclaiming and then loading the ships.
65 kilometres of conveyors snake their way across the site, moving up to 65,000 tonnes of coal every hour. That's a heavy workload for tens of thousands of moving parts. Regular maintenance is done during shutdown periods, and today the task of replacing damaged idlers belongs to Troy Bennis and his crew. Troy has been a mechanical fitter at Port Waratah for 9 years, working on these massive machines towering 14 stories high.
Behind me is one of our 6 stackers that we have on site. This is 321 stacking machine. The maintenance team's been called out today to do an idler purge.
An idler is a rolling component used to support a conveyor belt. At Kooragang Coal Terminal, there are thousands of idlers operating around the clock. Idlers fail from excessive shell wear or seize from dust and grease damaging bearings.
And we'll go along the whole 3 kilometres of conveyor and check every idler and change out the damaged ones.
Working below the stacker from an idler changing platform, the crew need to be on their toes, hurdling over steel frames, spinning idlers for worn bearings, and looking for damage or wear.
The idlers are located every few metres. That's where the conveyor belt rolls over to make it nice and smooth without the coal falling in between. They've got an aluminium shell, so they're not too heavy, probably 8 to 10 kilos. With a shaft in the middle with a slot that gets located in the roller frame, and it's got a bearing either end.
Missing one damaged idler could mean disaster.
Well, it could cut the conveyor belt, tear the belt up, which means big downtime and possibly repairs and replacing the belt. So,
shutting down operations on Stacker 321 for up to a week. Each hour the machine is shut down, that's a holdup of 8,500 tonnes of coal that can't be stockpiled along this row. From Newcastle to the sugar fields of Yatala, halfway between Brisbane and the Gold Coast. Contract cane harvesters are racing daylight to get the last of the season's crop to the sugar mill before nightfall. Once a back-breaking task, sugarcane has been harvested in this region for more than a century and crushed at the local Rocky Point Sugar Mill, one of the oldest in Australia. This 130-year-old mill has weathered floods, fire and storms over its long history. And today, Rocky Point Sugar Mill manager Bruce Tyson is battling his own problems.
The mill's come to a stop. We've had a failure of one of our oil coolers on the hydraulic drive on number 4 mill, and the factory's not operating now.
During the harvest, the mill operates around the clock, processing 4,000 tonnes of sugarcane each day. For Bruce to meet today's target, that's 170 tonnes every hour.
It's critical we get this plant up and going again next hour. We've got trucks backing up outside with cane on them.
Cut sugarcane dries out rapidly. And with a crop worth tens of thousands of dollars baking in the afternoon sun, time is critical. Rocky Point Maintenance Supervisor Terry Drury is determined to identify the cause of the breakdown.
So that's it up in the back. Looks like a whole series of plates up inside here, and that's the one that's failed. It's ruptured inside. That's a heat exchanger, a water to oil heat exchanger.
The heat exchanger cools the oil used by the mill's large hydraulic motors, which drive heavy 20-tonne metal rollers, crushing cane under tremendous pressure to extract the juice.
We can't continue to run like this because we are losing oil, and you just can't keep oil up to it, or it shuts down.
And that's not the only hitch. The ruptured heat exchanger cannot be repaired without replacement parts ordered from overseas, a delivery that will take at least 2 weeks.
So, yeah, we can't operate until we fix this up.
With the cause of the breakdown identified, Terry now has an even bigger problem: to find another heat exchanger today. At Brisbane Airport, hangar number 3 is all about heavy maintenance, where many of the flying kangaroos in this world-famous fleet come to have major service checks. Runways around the world are where 2 of the most challenging aviation feats occur on a round-the-clock basis: takeoffs and, of course, landings. One of the teams in the landing gear pit is busy installing the brakes, wheels and tyres on this A330, ready for a gear swing test at the start of the next shift. With the protective tape unwrapped from the axle, the avionics crew can install speed sensors which send vital information to the cockpit.
Yep.
Senior lamey Charles Lacina is keeping an eye on the team's progress. The job's got to be completed before the shift change, as this Airbus is booked in for a gear swing test tonight. The all-important brake units are next to be fitted.
There's 8 of these in total, 4 on each gear, and as you can see, it's a little bit more than just 2 pistons. You've got like 8 or 10 pistons all the way around, 2 different hydraulic systems. So if one system fails, you've always got a secondary backup system to apply the brakes.
The most important system to stop the aircraft are the wheel brakes. Jet aircraft have multiple wheels, each wheel containing a set of disc brakes. During landing, the brakes work hard, and therefore more brakes spreads out the workload to quickly slow the aircraft. Extreme friction from landing creates high temperatures, something these hardy units are designed to withstand. Despite being made from lightweight carbon fibre, they're still heavy enough to need a pallet trolley to move them around the hangar. No real surprise, as each unit tips the scales at about 100 kilos. To get them over to the axles, a wheel dolly does the heavy lifting, leaving 3 crew to manhandle the brake units into position. a few minor adjustments, and it's home. With the clock ticking closer to the night shift, that's 1 down, 3 to go. Back at the New Ackland coal mine near Oakey in regional Queensland, Andy Schooler is boss of a 4-day maintenance shutdown, responsible for keeping a team of mechanics on track, on time and on budget.
Best laid plans last until the first shot's fired, and then everything often goes a little bit different to how you think it would.
During the shutdown, there are over 140 jobs that need to be done.
Wash plant's made up of about 1,000 bits of individual equipment, be they pumps, conveyors, crushers, electric motors. There's lots of bits that go on in there that all have to work for the wash plant to work. So apart from your major jobs, you do have lots of those other smaller jobs, such as pump rebuilds, electric motor change out, repairs to screens. A lot of other stuff goes on apart from the big jobs.
While Andy supervises the overall operation, the biggest job on site is the removal and replacement of the jig elevator buckets, and falls firmly on the shoulders of contractor Darren McGrath.
It's not a quick and easy job, so we've got day shift and night shift on the job.
It's a busy worksite, with many jobs sharing the same equipment. Darren's already concerned about ongoing delays.
We can't do anything until this other crane gets out of the road, so the first day is always the same. Everyone wants to get everything out. We're all getting backlogged, and it's always in one little area, which is like this one, that one, and those pipe work, but we just can't do it, we just got to wait.
The jig elevator buckets stretch out 20 metres when fully extended. That's longer than a bowling alley. The problem Darren faces is the crane to lift the buckets can't extend its boom to over 20 metres above the preparation plant. So a plan is devised to shorten the bucket length.
We cut them in half, and then they'll come up through the roof. So then they'll go out and put them on the ground one at a time, one section at a time.
Already behind schedule, the crew are now under pressure to get the job done.
There's a lot to it to get our rigging right.
Weighing in at 10 tonnes, that's a lot of heavy metal to lift. All eyes are on the sky as the 100-tonne crane swings into action.
Fingers crossed we can get them out without any too much drama and too much wind blowing.
Good weather plays a critical role in this tricky operation. And just like threading a needle, the lifting hook lowers through this 2-metre cutout in the preparation plant roof.
When the crane comes in, we'll hook his hook onto it, he'll take the weight, and then we'll take these off. So then he'll have all the weight then.
The first of the 10-metre buckets grinds its way out of the jig elevator shaft. It's a slow operation, and the fact that it's running behind schedule is having a knock-on effect, delaying other jobs on site which also need the crane.
We thought we'd just keep on going, work through lunch, and we'll just get the job done.
Finally, the first half of the jig elevator buckets are clear of the roof. Good news, but not soon enough. With another lift to go, this morning's delays have cost Darren and his team valuable time. 170 kilometres to the east, the temperature's still rising at the Rocky Point sugar mill. A ruptured heat exchanger has brought the site to a standstill. Bruce Tyson has been Rocky Point Mill manager since 2006, and with a customer's cane cooking in the afternoon sun, he needs a fix fast. So an external service technician is called in.
He should be here in the next hour. It's critical we get this plant going so we can get the factory going again.
Maintenance supervisor Terry Drury has been working at the mill for 10 years. He knows farmers will be harvesting cane into the night, and with a growing backlog of trucks outside, it will be difficult to catch up the lost time.
We'll try and make it up through the night, but an hour and a half's a little bit too much to make up.
Travelling from Brisbane, Rexroth external service technician Alan Osborne is responding to the emergency call. A highly experienced hydraulic specialist, he's no stranger to Rocky Point Sugar Mill.
Yeah,
good, thanks.
Yeah, we've got another leak in another heating stage there. So,
Okay, yeah, I've got the spare one with me, so.
At the end of a busy harvest season, the mill can't afford to be out of production. Terry's hopes now lie in Alan to solve the problem. The replacement parts he needs to repair the ruptured heat exchanger are weeks away. Alan will need to think on his feet and come up with a fix to get the mill back up and running as soon as possible. Working under pressure, Alan's hoping his idea for a makeshift solution will get the job done.
No, I haven't had to do this sort of temporary fix-up before, no.
because our water comes down on a larger diameter.
Yeah.
Goes out to smaller diameter, so we'll have to find something else to pick up.
A heat exchanger transfers heat between fluids. Hot hydraulic oil from the mill's motors enters the heat exchanger tubes. Cold water circulates around the tubes, transferring heat from the hydraulic oil to the water without the two fluids having to mix together in direct contact.
So the water will come in, whatever, 20 degrees, will come out of here, maybe 26, 30 something degrees, depending on how much heat it takes out of the oil.
Every hour the mill's not operational is $10,000 in lost production. Terry's hope for Alan's workaround to solve the problem is critical.
Trucks queuing up there, 7 trucks. They're waiting to dump cane, so they'll have to just stay on hold now.
Time is ticking. Before Alan arrived, the mill had already been offline for almost an hour. Moving quickly, the maintenance team carried the replacement heat exchanger into position behind the hydraulics cabinet.
It just doesn't fit into the power unit cabinet, so it's going to look a bit messy. So hanging out the back of the power unit.
It's a tight squeeze as Alan works between hydraulic hoses and water pipes.
The mill's obviously stopped, so they're keen to get it going as soon as possible. So that's what we're working towards.
Attaching hydraulic hoses from oil cooling tanks to the replacement heat exchanger, Alan knows his temporary fix will have to hold until new parts arrive.
The other one's ruptured internally, so the oil from the hydraulic system's actually going into the cooling water. You can't leave it like that because you'll run out of oil in the tank.
Struggling to get connecting pipes to line up.
It doesn't fit, we have to make it fit. It will fit. There's no choice, it will fit.
However, Alan's sugar-coated idea might need a rethink. Heading south to the port city of Newcastle. Troy and his team have reached the halfway point, checking idlers along a 3-kilometre conveyor.
We're on the 321 stacker machine. It accepts the coal from the dump stations off the trains and stacks it into the yard.
Weighing in at a massive 600 tonnes and as tall as a 9-storey building, this metal monster stockpiles coal at an impressive 8,500 tonnes an hour. It's not long before a broken idler is discovered.
This is one of the damaged rollers that the boys have found in there. It's pretty extremely badly damaged. So, yeah, that's what we're looking for when we're walking along the conveyor.
Fatigue is a challenge on a 12-hour maintenance shift.
I used to think it was a bit of a hero status to stay on there for too long, but we're in the game for a long time, so we've got to keep fresh and just rotate out regularly so you don't get them leg burns going on.
Each idler weighs 9 kilograms. Dropping into a slot on the conveyor frame.
Yeah, pinch points are a big issue when we're changing out the idlers. You've got to keep your fingers out of the pinch points so you don't drop the idler on your finger and crush your fingers or hands. Just got to be aware and keep good communications with the driver. If you've got any issues, he just pulls it up, stops the machine.
Passing the halfway point, Troy and his crew are on a roll. But could the next hurdle spell disaster? the moment of touchdown, when landing gear, flaps and engine thrust reversers work together in mechanical harmony to bring one of these massive machines quickly and safely down to a taxi speed of 20 knots, roughly 40 kilometres an hour. To the east of the runways at Brisbane Airport is Hangar Number 3, a place that specialises in heavy maintenance, looking after some of the largest aircraft that make up one of the most famous airlines in the world. Inside this 160-metre long hangar, up to 3 aircraft can be undergoing extensive checks and servicing at any one time. Like this A330 in preparation of having its brakes and wheels serviced. These are the brake units, charged with the enormous task of helping to bring 187,000 kilograms worth of Airbus to a stop out on the runway. When the team have all 4 brake units in place, the wheel and tyre assemblies can roll out into position.
That should be close. Up a little bit.
While they continue their work on the landing gear, team leader Charles Lacina prepares the enormous wheels for refitting.
These are the lugs that drive the pads themselves. So the pads rotate with the wheels. The whole brake unit slots inside here. This part of the wheel drives the brake units. As the brake is engaged, the pads tend to slow down, which then slow the wheel down, slows the aircraft down. These are heat shields here to reduce the amount of heat going into the rim and the tyre.
For additional safety, these massive tyres are inflated with nitrogen gas to about 200 psi, far greater than the pressure used to fill tyres on a family car. Which makes sense, considering the much larger number of passengers and cargo an Airbus can haul. In total, an A330 has 4 of these 220 kilogram tyres on 2 sets of landing gear, plus 2 smaller tyres on the nose gear. Watching aircraft land, at the moment of touchdown, it's normal to see that telltale plume of smoke from the tyres.
These are the initial point of impact, all these little chevrons. They're a pneumatic tyre, so they've got a bit of flexibility so they can absorb a fair amount of impact.
To go with that flexibility, these aviation tyres also have plenty of grip. Meanwhile, the brake installation is almost complete. The team's got to push on and get the wheel and tyre assemblies on in time for a vital landing gear swing test. Back at the New Ackland coal preparation plant. After a lengthy delay, the first bucket is out safely and on the ground.
First half we took out, come out nice and easy.
Despite high hopes,
We do have problems with the second lift. It's pulling out on a different angle. It's coming out and then it's got to lift straight up, so it's sort of pulling back on itself.
and already Supervisor Andy Schooler has his concerns. At a cost of $42,000 every hour the coal preparation plant is not in operation, he can't afford this shutdown to go over time.
Behind schedule at this stage, a couple of delays with getting these jig elevator buckets out, and that's impacted on a couple of other jobs that we need to lift out with the overhead crane.
Hoping for the pace to pick up. The buckets are jammed in the chute.
Got to get a crowbar in there and start levering it out.
8 hours after the job started, finally, the jig elevator buckets come free from coal handling and preparation plant number 1.
The second lift had a few dramas, which was the drive gears were actually binding up on the actual chain itself. So we just had to locate the chain and then everything sort of slid out.
Time is money. With over 50 contractors on site, a delay during these early stages of the shutdown is cause for concern. With the buckets safely on the ground, the jig elevator shaft is finally ready to be refurbished.
We'll have a night shift come on at 6 o'clock, and on some of the key jobs, the jig elevator buckets here are one.
Overnight, a 12-hour shift has worked inside the jig elevator shaft, removing steel plates. Now on day shift, the job has been handed over to Boilermaker Will Hayes. His job is to weld the metal wear plates which guide the revolving jig elevator buckets. It's a physically demanding task.
Well, there's no real easy way of doing it, it's just a manual job.
A job done in challenging conditions.
It's confined space and working at heights. We're about 10 metres up from the ground. Mightn't look like it, but when you look down there, it's quite a long way.
With safety the key priority, Will is equipped with a body harness.
If I fall, it will pull me up, and then I have a spotter who will retrieve me by winding me back up if I can't just get on the ladder. There's also a risk of the atmosphere in there with all the welding and fumes, so we're constantly testing the atmosphere in there to make sure it's good for human environment, and also running a welding helmet that puts breathable air down on your face.
Another safety measure, a spotter above the chute watching Will's every move.
The spotter will generally just give me a little tug on the rope or something and say, mate, it's time to have a quick break and drink of water. It's the type of work that not everyone does. The work itself's not hard, it's just the environment that it's in which makes it harder.
After a 12-hour shift, the metal wear plates are installed and the jig elevator buckets are on schedule to go back in tomorrow. But will changing weather conditions have everybody looking to the sky instead? At the Rocky Point Sugar Mill, service technician Alan Osborne has been called in to help with an emergency breakdown.
This is a temporary solution. It'll work perfectly, it just doesn't fit into the power unit cabinet, so it's going to look a bit messy. So hanging out the back of the power unit.
Maintenance supervisor Terry Drury's hopes of a 1-hour turnaround are quickly fading.
He's actually been going about almost 45 minutes, so it'll get us going, it'll do the job, but it's not a proper installation. It's going to sit out the back of the cabinet there and be suspended on a wooden pallet, and it'll stay that way until we can get the right part.
It's a practical but not so pretty solution. As the minutes tick by, Alan looks like he might be getting close to a test run.
Yeah, he's got a couple of hydraulic pipes just to tighten up, and then just one water pipe to do, and that's it. The critical moment's going to be we run that and make sure it doesn't leak. That's going to be the most important thing. You know, as long as we've got no leaks on any joins.
At last, Alan gives the nod. It's time to test the temporary heat exchanger.
So we're going to give it a go now. We'll try it. We'll do a sequence start. We'll run these hydraulics and just check that it's all right.
As the pressure builds, looks like the mill isn't going to be back online anytime soon. Back at Port Waratah Coal Services, Stacker 321 is shut down for essential maintenance. With a window of only a few hours, this mighty machine is required back in service to unload a continuous stream of coal trains. For Troy and his crew, finding more damaged idlers is holding up the pace.
Yeah, that one's really badly damaged as well. Lost half the shell on that one, and they're the sharp shards that do have the potential to cut the belt. You've got to be pretty careful changing them out that you don't get cut yourself. That's why we wear the gloves and handle them in a safe manner.
Moving at a constant speed of 3 kilometres an hour, inspecting the conveyor belt is like being on a treadmill with the added bonus of hurdles.
Yeah, so we're walking along the return side, and you get damage both sides, but mainly on the carry side where the coal's hitting it.
Troy's team has done this job many times, but it doesn't mean the risks are any less.
There's a high exposure to potential injuries on site. We have a lot of controls in place to eliminate that. It is of the utmost importance that we protect our employees and also contractors and the visitors that come on site.
After safely hurdling the conveyor belt for 6 hours and replacing 20 damaged idlers, it's the end of the line for Troy and the crew. It's essential maintenance on these mighty machines that saves millions of dollars in lost productivity. During the shutdown, the maintenance team's progress has been constantly monitored by the busy operations control room. And with the job complete, the operator has the go-ahead to bring Stacker 321 back into service. One of Brisbane Airport's largest neighbours stands to the east of the runways. Heavy maintenance hangar number 3. And getting the aircraft serviced under its massive ceilings back in the skies is what this place and its staff are all about. Heavy maintenance is their specialty, like complete overhauls of Airbus landing gear. With its brake units in place, the team is pushing to get the wheels on before the shift change, as this A330 is scheduled for a vital gear swing test tonight. With each one weighing about 220 kilograms, their installation will not be as zippy as a pit crew working the Grand Prix circuit. Lining up the slots of the brake pads with the lugs inside the wheel rim takes time, patience and expertise.
I just had to come down a bit.
Down a bit?
So it's not letting down. Hold on, wait there, the straps holding it. Hold it there.
Bit by bit, the wheel is eased into place. Next, the wheel nut. Time to put a torque wrench to work. With 3 more wheels to fit, under the guidance of experienced lamies, practice definitely makes perfect.
Just got to line up these lock bolts. There's a couple of lock bolts that go through here, so we just line up the hole. So once we got the torque, we tighten it up to line up these lock bolts.
With the brake units and wheel assemblies installed, the team have met their deadline, ready for the night shift to carry out that all-important gear swing test. Just one of the many work assignments to be successfully and professionally completed under the towering ceilings of hangar number 3. At a work site that never sleeps, a new day has dawned under grey skies, and a weather forecast of wind and rain has Andy concerned.
All the planning in the world, you can't always see these unforeseen weather events, and you throw people into the mix too sometimes, and you always get these challenges.
And there's always that constant reminder of what can go wrong.
I wasn't actually here at that time, but I think you'll find it was probably the wind picked up then and blew the load, put a bit of a dent in the guttering on the plant.
In the coal preparation plant, final work is underway for the replacement of the jig elevator buckets.
I guess we're getting to the pointy end of the shut, if you like. The end's in sight, and the fellas probably got a bit more emphasis on getting in and getting the jobs done.
The first of the new buckets rises into a threatening sky. All eyes are on the weather as they pass the damaged gutter. Weighing in at 10 tonnes, the buckets thread through the rooftop. Hanging from chains, they are slowly lowered by the crane. Gradually, the buckets are carefully guided into the open chute.
Probably take an hour in each one. Plan on an hour in each one, yeah.
But there's a problem. Something has stopped the buckets. Aware the wind could pick up this afternoon, an hour is too long for Andy to wait.
Would have liked to have seen the buckets in by now, that's for sure.
They need a solution, and fast.
One of the wear strips didn't quite have enough chamfer on the leading edge, so the buckets were catching on a limb.
Eventually, with some persuasion, the buckets finally lower into the chute. And while the pace has picked up, so has the wind. Five stories up, the crane is struggling to lower the jig elevator buckets through the access port in the preparation plant roof.
Yeah, copy. We might have to bring those buckets back down to the ground. We tried.
With strong wind gusts risking the safety of his team, Andy has made the call to halt the install of the jig elevator buckets. It looks like the weather has won the battle. This time.
Once that load started swaying from side to side, the fellas didn't have control of it with the guy rope. I didn't want that to keep going with the job at that stage.
Crane operator Trevor Sharpley and rigger Russell Whitby agree with the call.
Well, Russell said it's pretty windy up the top because you don't know till you get up past the building there, and then it's gusting.
We just couldn't hold it still enough to get it to feed into the hole. There's an antenna and some aircraft lights up there that, yeah, they're pretty close, so you just got to be careful you don't hit into them. So, yeah, I was just worried that a gust would take it.
With the continuation of the job now relying on a break in the weather, some serious decisions have to be made if Andy is to continue past the shutdown deadline.
So we've had a look at the weather, and we probably expect these winds to hang around for the rest of the afternoon.
Pushing one day past the deadline means over $1 million in lost production. But there is a backup plan.
If we can't lift these up today, we'll look at coming in at 4 o'clock in the morning at daylight. Generally get a couple of hours period there where there's no wind.
A good solution, but one that creates another problem.
Because a lot of these people have got other jobs they go to after this one.
How are you going, Cameron?
We've only had them booked for the 4 days, so they make other arrangements, and so I'll have to do a ring around and see who I can get to stay back and work on the job.
Running over schedule and battling the elements will be a costly delay. But will Andy find the manpower he needs to get the job done? At Rocky Point, the sugar mill is still offline. Hydraulic specialist Alan Osborne is desperately trying to stop a leaking water pipe on his temporary heat exchanger.
Bit of a water leak, it's one of those things, but I think we've got it sorted now.
Replacing a rubber washer has fixed the water leak, and the pipe is reconnected to the cooling tank. With hydraulic hoses checked and water pipes securely tightened, Terry can finally restart the mill.
So, as you can hear now, that pump started up, so that'll start to use that system straight away. So, we'll check that for leaks now.
Once we go around the back of the door.
I'll have a look through here. Oh, looks good, Al. Yeah, looks good, yeah. That's good.
Terry's happy. At last, the large hydraulic motors which drive the crush power up.
So no leaks on our preliminary start. So now we'll start up the milling train so we can start crushing cane. That'll put it under full load. We'll recheck it again.
Before Alan can leave, the mill has to be working at full operation.
This shows you when these rollers and all that start up. So the ones down there have started, the green ones. Now this is the mill that we're standing at, this colour here. So it's about to start.
As he brings the mill back online, Terry is on the lookout for problems.
This is the mill where we placed the oil cooler on, and it's now working under full load, so we'll check that now.
Mill boss Bruce is keen to get a report.
Seems to be going all right. We've checked for oil leaks. Looking from this side, no oil leaks. Alan's on the outside, I just asked him, so there's no oil leaks at all, so the water leaks are fine, so it looks good.
Excellent, we're up and going again.
Yep, happy.
Thank you.
Alan's temporary heat exchanger has saved the day. Hoping to be back online in 1 hour, Terry delivers Alan his report card.
From when we shut the mill down to when we got going again was just over an hour and 50 minutes. So really, it's pretty good. You know?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
You always hope for better than what you can actually do.
Yeah,
So.
and we always have the little water leaks, you know, that probably cost us 20 minutes.
Yeah, easy.
Otherwise, it would have been up and running on schedule. But anyway, main thing is you're up.
Appreciate it.
No worries.
And really good job.
Okay, thanks very much, Derek.
No worries, mate.
All right, we'll see you next time.
Yeah,
Thanks,
cool,
man.
One day over the scheduled 4-day shutdown, and Andy has managed to gather enough men to continue the job. High winds yesterday delayed the lift of the last jig elevator bucket.
Yeah, the boys came in at 4 o'clock. The wind has died down by that stage.
Now, as day breaks, the final bucket is safely lowered through the coal processing plant roof.
Obviously, we've overrun our scheduled time. We were hoping to be up and running this morning around 6 o'clock, but if we had had the elevators in by 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon, we would have achieved that.
1 day over schedule, and with a handful of contractors on site, Coal Handling and Preparation Plant number 1 is back in production.
To have a successful outcome for a shutdown, you rely on your people you have working here, whether they be our mine employees or our contracting companies that come in and do the work. So we're very fortunate. We have some really good people. They get in and have a go and they care. They have pride in their work.
Andy and the New Auckland Coal Handling and Processing Plant team have managed a challenging operation. Risking an expensive overrun, Andy's focus is safety first. They've battled the elements to get millions of dollars of machinery back online with the expertise and coordination of a team of experienced mega mechanics.